Now, I know there are some people who say that this isn't any business of the President of the United States, and who believe that the President of the United States should be the honorary chairman of a great fraternal organization and confine himself to ceremonial functions. But that isn't what the Constitution says. And I did not run for President of the United States to fulfill that office in that way. Harry Truman once said there are 14 or 15 million Americans who have the resources to have representatives in Washington to protect their interests. And that the interests of the great mass of the other people, 150 or 60 million, is the responsibility of the President of the United States, and I propose to fulfill it.
A common danger. The events of recent weeks may have helped to illuminate that challenge for some, but the dimensions of its threat have loomed large on the horizon for many years. Whatever our hopes may be for the future, for reducing this threat or living with it, there is no escaping either the gravity or the totality of its challenge to our survival and to our security. A challenge that confronts us in unaccustomed ways in every sphere of human activity.
It appears as though something has happened in the motorcade group.
November 22nd, 1963. President John F. Kennedy is gunned down in Dallas.
This deadly challenge imposes upon our society two requirements of direct concern, both to the press and to the president. Two requirements that may seem almost contradictory in tone, but which must be reconciled and fulfilled if we are to meet this national peril. I refer first to the need for far greater public information, and second, to the need for far greater official secrecy.
A crushing blow to the country and a personal affront to FBI agent Don Adams.
Oh, it shocked me. It devastated me. And I thought to myself, what did I do wrong?
Adams is retired, but still can't shake the assassination or investigation by the Warren Commission.
Nothing but a bunch of liars.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it.
The Warren Commission determined that Lee Harvey Oswald fired the fatal shots from the Texas Book Depository. But Adams says the real person behind the plot isn't even mentioned in their report.
I know for a fact in my heart that these things happened.
Based on his service with the FBI and years researching National Archives, Don Adams says at best the Kennedy assassination is a massive failure to communicate between federal agencies and then cover up. At worst, it's conspiracy to commit murder.
Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
It's embarrassing because I love the FBI. It's a great organization, best law enforcement agency in the business. But we also have to face facts and reality that there are bad people in this world.
The Army War veteran joined the agency in 1962. He was assigned to Thomasville, Georgia, where he began investigating Joseph Miltier, a name unfamiliar to many, but not the government.
He was reported to be one of the most violent men in the country.
A militant activist with ties to hate groups like the KKK. November 1963, an FBI informant named William Somerset said Miltier was threatening JFK.
Saying bad things about what they wanted to do to Kennedy.
And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Miltier frequently discussed assassinating President Kennedy. A threat was even captured on tape by Miami intelligence officers November 9th, 1963, just weeks before Dallas. Miltier is talking to Somerset.
Well, how the hell do you do it? The best way would be to come out still with a high heart, right? And they're going to really try to kill it.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day.
He describes smuggling a gun into the building.
It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure.
I should have stopped the president from traveling instantly.
It didn't, and November 22nd, Miltier is photographed near the motorcade moments before the assassination.
They messed up, and all the other agencies messed up.
Is there any way Lee Harvey Oswald could have killed John F. Kennedy?
No. Had nothing to do with it.
Miltier is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, for I have complete confidence.
Don says evidence he saw while stationed in Dallas proves it, beginning with the Zapruder film.
And all of a sudden I saw the president go like this with his hands. And I said, how? I said, he was shot in the throat. The agent said to me, Don, be careful what you say. And there were no shots from the front.
But Don says this photo shows a bullet hole through the windshield.
The very first thing that the doctor said was, hell, he was shot in the throat. That's a bullet hole. The minute that you have a frontal shot, Oswald can't be the shooter, because this came from a grassy knoll. And Oswald was in Texas School Book Depository.
The Warren Commission ruled that 3 shots were fired, but Don counted 11. And at the book depository, he wondered how Oswald did that in 7.5 seconds from a bolt-action rifle.
And the response and dedication of our citizens, whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
Because I was in Korea and I know what I'm talking about.
He also says, unbeknownst to many people, another weapon seen here was also recovered.
The first weapon they found in the building was a Mauser. And nobody ever discussed that.
Witnesses reported Oswald was in the lunchroom 4 floors down on the opposite side of the building drinking a Coke after the first shot.
No heavy perspiration or heavy breathing or anything. Couldn't have been done. It was impossible.
Afterward, while Oswald was arrested, Miltier was, quote, jubilant, bragging to Somerset, "You thought I was kidding when I said he would be killed from a window with a high-powered rifle." He told sources in the KKK, "Don't worry about Oswald. He doesn't know anything."
We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution.
All this stuff bothers me.
Upsetting to many people, in 1976, the U.S. House of Representatives Select Committee on Assassinations was established. They determined a shot was fired from the grassy knoll and, in summary, believed, quote, on the basis of evidence available, President Kennedy was probably assassinated as a result of a conspiracy, though they were unable to identify the other gunmen. Was Joseph Miltier involved or someone else? Don thinks time will tell, but it's also running out.
I mean, when we die off, when we're gone, there's not going to be anybody who's going to sit here and tell you these things. I hope the truth gets told, whatever it is.
Not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.